channel does not promote or promotion any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
It's all unraveling. It's all unraveling. Listen in case you didn't know.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. We would like to welcome you to the Truth Be Told Flex podcast, where I am your host, Yeshua Judah, sitting along Ox of Fire Shehu and Ayo Ben Yehu. We're going to do it like we do it on every day that the Greeks call Thursday. We would like to welcome you, and if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit that bell so that you can get every notification when we upload on Thursdays. With that being said, let's prepare ourselves for a great show.
Prophecy, interpretation, Isaiah 55:11, so it ain't no faking. Crack your dough, it's getting close. I'm here to tell you, just in case you didn't know. Listen, man, in case you didn't know, it's almost getting close. In case you didn't know, it's all unraveling. Babylon got pregnant with a daughter. She introduced a new world order. She wicked as hell. If you try to feed the homeless, they take you to jail. And for that wicked heart of power, they send them to hell.
Brother Ayo Ben Yehu with us. We're gonna be rolling just the two of us, man. I started to have a little short sample of that song playing when we came on. Just the two of us. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep our brother Safar, Yeshua in prayer.
Yes.
By the speed of the Most High, higher he will be back with us next week.
Yes.
But with that being said, brother, how you doing?
Man, I am blessed, brother. It's been a great week. Glad to be here with you, man, and back with the people on today. So I'm good. How are you, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You already know, man.
Just one of those days.
Just one of them days, man. But
Seem like you get the most work. Seem like you get the most work on the day you got to get on Thursdays when you're trying to get home to get, do the work of the Most High. Your boss, Pharaoh, call you, hey, can you run here and do that and do this and do that?
Like you could tell him no. But I know he can tell by the way I be sounding. I be like, no.
Right. Like, man.
He want to give me some. He want to give me some extra work tomorrow on Friday, right? And he called me. He said, "Can you take an extra job?" I said, "I guess." That's what I said. He said he wasn't expecting that. He said, "You guess?" I was like, "Yeah, I
really ain't." But I guess I go, yes. Yes. But yeah, man, all praises, man. All
praises, man. The Most High is good. I want to tell you that, though. My mama used to have a saying, brother. When I was younger, that I never understood. She used to say that old was the goal, and I never understood what she was talking about. Now that I'm on this side,
now you're right.
I get it, right? So to a lot of people, it may seem like I be complaining, but I don't be complaining at all.
Right.
I don't. I give, if it's an ache, I give praises to the Most High. Like that. If it's something that I'm going through, I give praises to the Most High for that as well. Because
absolutely.
What would life be if we didn't have adversities?
Come on, man.
For real. You know what I'm saying? What would life be? So I don't be tripping. I talk about it. I laugh about it. And anybody know me, man, I can make a joke out of anything. Man, I think I get on people's nerves.
Nah, y'all, she'll be having me cracking up, man. I love it. Anytime I leave a laugh, I can just hit share. He'll throw a joke at me, and I'm So
it ain't too. It ain't. It's not too much in this world that I let bother me.
Right.
I try to stay even. You know what I'm saying? Even Steven in this world. Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. But with that being said, I already know that we may be going a little bit over. All praises to the people that are here with us.
Sure.
You got a critical race theory, my man?
Man, do I. This is our Beyond Critical Race Theory segment, which is, in our terms, critical race fact.
Okay.
Something that you may have heard on the tip of the iceberg, but it's also factual information that they are doing their best to keep out of our schools and institutions. Okay.
Okay.
So today, it's one of those ones that, man, just like Lake Lanier, we're going to talk about Ocoee, Florida, the Ocoee massacre. Yeah, man, this is one that I'm sure folks might be a little familiar with. And what struck me when I was researching, over the weekend, I'm sitting and looking like, okay, Father, what can I bring out to the people that may spark their interest, but also something that we could truly look at and see what is there a running theme with this?
Right.
And the running theme that I get when I come across all of these articles, and if we can go back a few weeks, listeners, if y'all could think back, the running theme is voting rights.
Right.
They were scared of our voice to vote.
Right.
And it's such a parallel now. You think that's all you hear about is the so-called black vote.
Right.
But
right.
Why in Jim Crow era, just like this, Lake Lanier, they didn't want us to vote. One man had to go for the right to vote. Harry Moore, we talked about last week, the right to vote, the right to just have a voice.
Right.
So Ocoee Massacre, man, November the 2nd, 1920, in response to an attempt by African Americans to exercise their legal and democratic right to vote, listen to this, at least 50 African Americans were murdered in a brutal massacre on November the 2nd, 1920. And like I said, now this article is coming from the Zen Education Product in Florida. We're going to watch a quick video right quick, just to give you a brief synopsis on what we're talking about.
Can't hear it, yo.
Can you hear it?
There's no volume.
Can't hear it, yo. Okay. All right. Let me see what's going on. Boy. Let's see something here.
How are you sharing it? Are you sharing it from Chrome or from your
Yeah, from the Chrome.
From the Chrome? It's a little button down at the bottom that says something about audio. When you get ready to share it.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. You
should see it, right? Let me see. It's all good, brother. We're gonna work this thing out.
Yeah. Well, anyway. All right, so I tell you what we're gonna do. We're just gonna have to go on without the video.
Okay.
And just read this article. All praise.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now we got one more option. If you want, I can pull up the video over here and share it. If you want to share the video, or how you want to do it.
Yeah.
What's the name of it? What I'm looking
for? The Ocoee, Florida.
Spell it, brother.
Ocoee.
Ocoee.
Yes. Massacre. Massacre.
Okay. How long is the video?
It's 3 minutes and 41 seconds.
Okay. Florida Ocoee Massacre.
Yep. That's it. The deadliest election day in American history.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all hang tight. This is a good informational video that, like the gentleman say, we didn't know a lot about. So a lot of Floridians didn't even know about it.
And Tuesday marks a grim anniversary in Florida's political and racial history.
100 years ago, a town was burned to the ground and many Black people killed after some Blacks were turned away from the polls. 8 on your side's Rod Carter is here now with more on the Ocoee massacre.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. We actually told a lot of folks about this story during our political special, but right afterwards, I got a call from someone who knows about this firsthand. It's something a lot of people in Florida simply do not know about or have never really heard about. Scores of homes burned, people killed, all over exercising the right to vote. One Tampa man knows that story very well. The man at the center of all of it 100 years ago was his great-grandfather.
In my mind, I was definitely thinking this can't be true.
The first time Stephen Nunn heard the story of the Ocoee massacre, it was over a hearty breakfast with his grandmother when he was a teenager.
And all of a sudden she said, you know what? She said, I'm going to tell you a story and I'm going to share it with you. But I'm sharing it with great reservation and hesitation because I vowed I'll never talk about it again.
When she was done, he was sort of in shock. During the 1920 presidential election, a group of Black Floridians went to the polls. Some were turned away, which led to a night of violence now known as the Ocoee Massacre. At the center of it, a man named July Perry. On November 2nd, 1920, Perry's friend Moses Norman, a Black man, went to vote and was turned away. Both Perry and Norman had encouraged other Blacks and women to vote in the 1920 presidential election, with Republican Warren G. Harding up against Democrat James Cox. That night, Perry was hanged, his wife and daughter brought to jail here in Hillsborough County. That daughter was Coretha, that's Nunn's grandmother.
Never in the history of the U.S. has a massacre such as what took place in Ocoee took place during voting time or over voting.
The story of the Ocoee Massacre on display right now at the Orange County Regional History Center in an exhibit called Yesterday, This Was Home.
At the end of the night, 2 white men have been killed. An unknown number of Black people have been murdered. That is a number we will probably never know.
But curator Pam Schwartz says it was about more than just money. It was about the land that Blacks owned.
Over several years, there is an ongoing series of land sales. The land was not just sort of snapped up by the white community and the Black people fled. The Black community did try to fight and keep their land.
Stephen Nunn's great-grandparents lost all of it.
And all of that land, the only way to put it today is it was robbed. They were robbed.
And now he wants this tragic story of his family's loss to serve as a lesson to the nation.
He was a just man. He was a community man. And he had to pay an awesome price over a principle that we still debate today, and some are lackadaisical about it.
And to this day, almost 100 years later, which will be on November 2nd, no one has ever been brought to justice for the Ocoee Massacre. This week, by the way, the city of Ocoee is hosting a week-long celebration to honor and remember the Ocoee Massacre, and really all of the African Americans who call that home. It will culminate with the unveiling of a historic marker to remember the victims and all of the African Americans who live there.
You know, and so eye-opening coming up to an election, so many people not taking advantage of voting. They have this opportunity to see what has happened to people in the past.
And you see what happened when people were trying to get other folks to the polls to vote, and you don't use that right. That's why people talk about voting is so important.
It's powerful stuff. Rod, thank you.
Rod, thank you.
Yeah. So, that was a short video explaining what happened in the Ocoee Massacre. So, basically, as you heard them say, the number of our people that were killed, they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know how many of us was killed, and all we were trying to do was just exercise our right to vote. So quickly, on this article, it's talking about on November 1st, the day before the election, with robes and crosses, the Ku Klux Klan paraded through the streets of the 2 Black communities in Ocoee late into the night. With megaphones, they warned that not a single Negro would be permitted to vote. And if any of us dared to do so, there would be dire consequences. Ain't that something, man? So election day came, and some of us, we did attempt to vote in Orange County. However, none were permitted to enter their respective polling places. White enforcers camped out around the centers, and poll workers were given instructions to deflect to deflect our attempts. One by one would be Black voters were turned away by threats of violence or by poll workers who found their names mysteriously absent from the voter registrations. Now, check this out. Pollsters instructed them to go get the documentation from a notary public, R.C. Bigelow, to verify that they were actually registered to vote. Conveniently, guess what he was doing that day?
What's that?
He was out fishing. He went in and out. Ain't that something? So pretty much,
look at
yeah, ain't that something? Now, like I said, conveniently, right around that time, they didn't want us to vote. You know, Warren G. Harding was running against his running mate. You know, if I'm correct, Warren G. Harding did win that presidency.
Right.
Served a couple terms.
Right.
But isn't it ironic that now that is all you hear about is the brown and black vote? That's all you hear about.
That's all you hear about. That's all you hear. And you know what the difference is that I think that I cut you off because I don't want to.
No, sir.
You know what the difference is that I think in today's time, well, in that time, in that era, I believe that the vote actually mattered more than it matters today. At that time, there was like real voting. Right?
Real voting.
It was real voting. Right. And they was afraid of the number of us that could come together. It was power. It's not power now.
Right.
There's no power in voting now.
Right. It was an actual power. They
give the illusion that there's power in voting today. And so many black people believe that it is. I want to apologize too that the chat was off because someone give me a test to see if I got it turned back on. I believe it's on. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that. But back to what we was talking about, brother. That's what it was, man. Then you got your head cut off for real because you got to think, man. If we came together and we got to vote in the numbers, we could get people in office that will represent us.
That's it. That's it. And I think my wife just confirmed that the chat is on. All praise for that. So
all praise.
But yeah, it's crazy how that happened. And to sum this story up, they basically, when they went to go seek the RC, the notary, he wasn't there. He was gone. So they went to a judge. An attorney instructed them to write their names down on the ones that were not permitted to vote, and also the names of the poll workers who denied their constitutional right. Now, Cheney said he was one of the lawyers and said a lawsuit against the county would be brought to contest the violation. When Mr. Norman returned to Ocoee with those instructions, along with a handful of us to protest and gain the vote, as you can imagine, things did not go well. After being forcibly turned away, he demanded the poll workers' names and exclaims, "We will vote." That's Mr. July Perry. Okay, so Mr. July Perry. He was a well-respected brother of the black community. He served as a deacon in the church, and just like there was power in the vote, back then there was power in the churches. The churches were like an actual staple in the community where you can go for refuge.
Exactly.
He was also known as a laborer. He employed a lot of us. He was an admired, brave, and rational thinker. A sort of civil rights leader before there was even a civil rights movement. Once again, civil rights,
real pioneers.
There you go. He was a real true pioneer for the movement. So he continued to encourage us to vote and educated them to be first-class citizens. So of course, like in the video you just heard, after that night, once the county found out that they were going to be taken to court, and the polls, the name workers in the polls names. The poll workers' names were written down. It was going to be contested. The Klan that night rode, and this article has 50, but like the lady in the video said, there's no number to how many of us died. And Mr. July Perry, he will go down in history as one of the great pioneers because he said, "No, we will vote." Because he knew, just like you said, he knew that back then that vote had the power. So
I'm curious. I'm curious. I am as to who we were voting for.
Exactly. Now, in this case, I believe it was Warren G. Harding and the other contender. I can't remember his name, but I do believe Warren G. Harding he did win that presidency. Yeah. So
voting also was a sign of you being a man too.
Right.
You know, we were not considered as a whole man.
3/5 human. Right.
That's equivalent to, in their mind, that's equivalent to letting a dog vote.
That's it.
Or a horse vote.
That's it. And they were going to do everything in their power to not let us vote. Like
exactly.
To organize a mob and to actually murder somebody,
right.
Not beat up, not scared, but to actually murder and then burn down the town. Come on, bro.
Say, man, I believe either you said in the article or it was in the video that it had a lot to do with the businesses that we own as well.
And the land. That's another land. That's another running thing. So, look at Lake Lanier. The land. It was the land.
So it was James M. Cox. Thank you, Shaka Boom.
Appreciate
James M. Cox. Yeah. So oh man, that elderly age of mine, my mind just went blank, man. It was something I was finna say. It was something I was finna say in regards to this. Oh, I got it. All praises. Thank you, the Most High. Oh, it's interesting to me how in today's time, two things, sir. One, that they can give the illusion that we are included. Mm-hmm. Two, that Negroes feel as if we are included.
As if we are. Man, those are the two. Boy,
let's just go back to the history of this country. Like I was talking to my nephew, right? And we was talking about the cocktail, the vaccine, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was edited, right? Like, talking about that, and he asked the question. He said, look, I thought about this. My nephew. He said, I thought about getting it. He said, until they start offering money and saying that they'll give you time off and blah blah blah. Yeah. He said, that's when I realized, man, that ain't for us. He said, this was my nephew's statement. He said, when has this government ever gave us anything that was good for us? And that's the question I've been asking for the longest. Right. So how do you Negroes feel like all of a sudden, right? That when it says united we stand, that it's talking about you too. Right. With liberty and justice for all, that it's talking about you too. No, it ain't talking about you. We the people that is talking about you too. It's not talking about us, man. It never have been talking about us. It never will be talking about us. Why? Because we are a nation that is not desired.
Man, everything you just said ran through my mind. When I was looking at this, I was like, wow, how the parallels of this. Being treated how we were treated in Mitzrayim and in the book. In different captivities. And then you talk about this massacre and the Wilmington massacre, which we'll talk about next week, and then the Lake Lanier massacre, Rosewood. I mean, you keep going on and on. And like you just said, it was over voting, just not even necessarily voting rights, but just rights, period. Rights to say, I'm a human being and I have a voice. My great-granddad built this country just a few years ago, or my granddad or dad built this country. And you mean to tell me I don't have a right to vote or a right to keep land or a right to own a business? So yeah, man, that's what struck me. How was that liberty and justice for all?
Yeah.
How was that the land of the free? How is that? Yeah. So that's why I wanted to bring that out, because man, that thing hit me, boy. When I was reading the article, I was like, wow, that's whew.
We are going to talk about a speech that Biden gave, I want to say on the 1st of September, but I want to hit something that he said right now, because this is the slick snakery talk that they do in front of us. And these S-back Negroes in today's time, they be biting this and eating this as if it's true. He said, this is where we sit in motion, the most extraordinary experiment, self-government, the world has ever known, with 3 simple words. We the people. These 2 documents and the idea that they embody, equality and democracy, are the rock upon which this nation is built. There now we become the greatest nation on earth. What equality and what democracy built this nation, and what we the people are you talking about? Look, man,
Right.
Brother, I get irritated when I get talking about this.
Yep.
Like, for real, I get irritated, man. Because there's nowhere in the world you being, you know, a so-called black in this country, you should allow your kid to go fight for this military. I'm just going to be honest with you, man.
Figure it out. Be honest, man.
Go fight for this military when all you got to do is go back into history. We don't even have to go back too far. Let's just go back to Nam. Let's just go back to Nam when we went and when we came back. Them brothers thought that they was going to be coming back to this nation as heroes. Them brothers came back to this nation still as zeros.
Enemy. Looking
as the enemy.
Enemy, bro.
And what did they do to him over there at Nam? They got him hooked on heroin.
Alcohol.
They put them on the front line.
Yep.
And while they was gone, they turned their women against them.
Yep.
The whole time they was gone, that's when they started that women liberation. So when the brothers came back, they didn't even know who their wives was no more.
And they know, man, it was that's so tragic to have to know that, man. And once again, it's, you know, it just goes to show when we do these beyond critical race theories, that they are
rough.
Fact. It's rough to digest, but we must know that the Most High, like he said in Sect 2 Edges,
yeah,
he ain't gonna hold his tongue too much longer on these things.
Man,
he is not all of that.
It's touching
everything. See, because once it touch you. And like you said, once you process it, man, and when you think about that word is for us because of that. Like, how you gonna let me go fight in a war and then I come back and I can't vote, I can't get a job, me and my wife can't seek mental health. There's like, how is that?
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
Man. So,
right.
But yeah,
man. So let's keep it moving. Let's go ahead and go to our music break. Thank everybody for being in tonight. We got some great information that is coming up. I'm gonna tell y'all the same thing that I told my family, that we are on the cusp of these people beginning to round us up and lock us up. We do not want to be reactive to this thing. We want to be proactive. And as we go into the word, we know that everything that's happening right now is happening to shape up for our exodus up out of there. That's the reason that we do this show. We do this show to try to keep you informed on what these people are doing. And as my sister, the Light Hebrew magazine said, I agree with you, lady. Two cons, them dirty dogs. Let's get it. Them dirty dogs. This is music by Zamora. Here we go.
Brother Zamorel. Yeah.
Kenneth English.
Brown skin, darker than white jeans, with a bright dream, lightning suddenly shocking how I be striking. Vikings reminding my people that we the right kings, right queen, follow the kingdom for what it might mean. All this trouble in Jacob, forget your makeup, cause anyway they looking so made up, look how we made us, yeah. With a love and a passion to be the greatest, stiff neck, nappy head attitude, need to braid up, permanent, using a hot comb, straight up. To get all them loose ends that break up, fade up, to over the shadow that try to shade us. Lion of Judah in battle until they ate up. King of the jungle but humble with hands raised up. Straight out of Egypt, the pillar of fire blazed up. Manna from heaven, however, we still disrupt. Complaining sustained in the wilderness, disgust. For worshiping idols that ain't do shit for us. Stand for something, to die for nothing while giving up. Would you send your brother to Egypt to try to make a buck? And have his coat of many colors covered in some blood? Cause you're jealous of his mantle and who he was? That what was meant for evil turned to some righteous love to help you shine, cause your star ain't bright enough. Squinted eyes don't open up wide enough till they adjust to that light that's blinding us. Scripture after verse keep reminding us we suffer the curse to keep defining us. Identifying heritage is not enough. Obedience is better than that cover up. Dry toast, but you rather have it buttered up. The only way to show approval is to study up. The only way to show approval is to study up. It's been so long since we've been home where we went wrong. So headstrong, all signal gone, turn off the phone. Now all day long we journey on, which way is home? Yes. When right turns wrong, delusion strong, all hope is gone. Now it's hard to hear you calling me. Is the promised land too far to see? Do you believe dry bones can breathe? Do you believe, do you believe, do you believe? Track the side of melanin made irrelevant, embellishing arrested development in the skeleton. Society's medicine meddling. Betrayers is evil to let the devil in. Well, you know we the people and we are better than. Our journey from Egypt didn't ever settle in. Misplacing our trust, now here we go again. To the back of the bus with a Negro sag pants. And the women in more will shake that ass dance. On the blood of the soil, a slave on his hands. And the crack in the foil in every smoker's trance. And the reason our oil is leaking from our lamps. They say that we spoiled with all these food stamps. Now they claiming we violent in all these boot camps. The awakening started at Judah freelance. And you can call me retarded, but this ain't by chance. It's been so long since we been home where we went wrong. So headstrong, all signal gone, turn off the phone. Now all day long we journey on, which way is home?
Yes.
When right turns wrong, delusion strong, all hope is gone. Now it's hard to hear you calling me. Is the promised land too far to see? Do you believe dry bones can breathe?
Yeah.
I like that, man.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Dry
sir.
bones can breathe.
Man.
Got a nice flow to it. Like you remember like Far Side, Slum Village,
Yes.
Lords of the Underground,
Yes.
like that era in hip hop when it was really
When it was good.
when it was good, man.
When
That's
it was
what that-
good.
When I heard it the other day when Sister Delta sent it to me, I was like, oh, well, okay. Yeah, I was feeling that. So yeah, that was more air. More air.
Let's get one more thing in, and then we're gonna get right on to the shows. We got a promo. Mr. Ayo. Being Yehu. Here we go. Right. All right. There we go.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Such
We
a
would like to
blessing,
thank, Sister Delta, man. Enough cannot be said about this chick. She has been a blessing to the entire nation.
Man, such a blessing. It was such a blessing to be on the, featured in the magazine and on the cover. I'm just happy to be a vessel for the Most High, man. That's and like-minded Hebrews alike with her platform, the journalism that she does and the work that she does for the people of Yasharel, man, it's truly a blessing to have that. So all praises to the Most High for that, man. We're thankful. We're humble and thankful over at the House of Ayo. Absolutely.
Yep.
No, we roll.
Yeah, man.
What you got for us, brother? What you got?
We got some stuff, man. Let's put our seatbelt on.
Woo!
Put our seatbelt on. See the name of the show. More lockdowns to come. It's kind of hard to believe that we would be looking at more lockdowns, but we are. This is why it's imperative for us, right? Not to get too complacent.
Right.
Because once you get complacent, things happen, you don't be ready for it. Right? So we got to be ready for whatever it is that they throw our way. Before we get into this thing, let's get this Ephesians 6:12.
Come on, let's get it.
It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, he says, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth, and having on a breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all fiery darts of wickedness. There's only one way to escape this. There's only one way to escape this, brother Ayo Ben Yehu.
You better have the mark of the Most High, and you better have that word.
It's about to get hot out here, man. It's about to get hot. So what are we gonna do? We only got two things, man. We can stand or we can fold. You know what we say in the street, real don't fold. We don't fold. Right.
That's it.
More lockdowns are to come. Who would have thought that when we were on lockdown for the Corona-19 that they would have been doing surveys, man. So-called surveys. Told you I really don't believe nothing that they say, right? But hey, they said they did surveys. So this is coming out of NASA. NASA. Which in Hebrew means deception anyway, by the way, if you don't know. NASA is actually a Hebrewic word, which means deception. It says local lockdowns brought fast global ozone reductions. NASA finds. It says a new study finds that reduced fossil fuel burning due to lockdowns in America and Asian cities caused a global drop in ozone pollution. When lockdowns during the coronavirus pandemic cut local nitrogen oxide emissions, the effect on ozone pollution was global and unexpectedly rapid. As coronavirus pandemic slowed global commerce to a crawl in early 2020, emissions of nitrogen oxide, which creates ozone, a danger to human health, they say, right?
That's what they say.
And to climate decreased 15% globally and local reduction as high as 50%, according to a study led by a scientist at NASA Jet Population Laboratory in Southern California as a result of lower carbon emissions. By June 2020, global ozone levels had dropped to a level that policymakers, that's your word right there. We know what policymakers do, right?
Policymakers, right.
That policymakers thought would take at least 15 years to reach by conventional means. That's another key word. Because now they're about to use non-conventional means. More lockdowns are to come, people.
Come on, man.
To reach by conventional means such as regulations. So here we go. They want to blame us for destroying the earth.
There you go.
They want to blame us for destroying the earth. Now, I differ. I say that they are destroying the earth.
Yep.
Right? When they have things like this one, I'm going to show you something. Check this out, man.
What you got?
Check this out. This is in UK. I can't make this up.
Can't make it up.
I can't make this up. If I wanted to, I could. If I wanted to, I could. What's that? I don't know what that is. They done took over the article with Queen Elizabeth.
Oh boy.
They done took over the article with Queen Elizabeth. This is not what's supposed to be on here. But anyway, there was a drag queen that is, of UK's first trans queen. This is what's destroying the earth. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not fossil emissions. It's not, the carbon that they say that is in the earth. It's not none of that. What's destroying the earth are these leaders and their lawlessness to the laws of the Most High.
Right. Sin. That's
what's destroying the earth.
That's what's destroying the earth.
So they say that they need to save the earth from us because they say that we are destroying it, right?
Right. That's what they say.
So with that, the policymakers are going to start using non-conventional means because when we was locked down for a year, hey, guess what happened?
Right. That's what they They done, bro. That man, this article when you sent this, I was like, wait a minute. So the whole time y'all was telling us to stay in the house, watch movies from Netflix and all the movies that was normally be in the theaters, we can now watch on HBO Max and getting DoorDash and all this stuff. They was doing studies and surveys.
Man, do you really think that that's what they was doing, or do you think that they already had this thing planned out?
Because you see, it says policymakers, which is Armageddon, all of the apocalypse movies come on. They be in that war room, and it's always the nerdy dude with the pins in the pocket and the glasses, got a whole bunch of books and papers falling, everything, and the generals and all the president, they sitting around waiting for him to say, what did you find? Oh, I found this 50% globally, and 50%. So they say, okay. Oh, all right. So they got their bagels and their croissants and their donuts, and they eating and talking, sharing pictures of grandbabies. When it's us, on the other hand, scrambling, just trying to survive. Look at the Hunger Games.
Trying to survive. That's right, man.
And then they hit you with something like this, so they say, "Look, here is how you can help."
Right there, you go.
Get back.
There
in the
you
house.
go, brother. There you go,
This is how you do your part.
There you go.
We've been wondering, how can more lockdowns come? Here it comes. Get back in the house for another 2 years.
Here it is. And this has been the end game. You got to be able to see the end game.
The end game. Come on,
You got to be able to see the end game. Back with Al Gore. Al Gore is the face of global warming and global changing.
Right.
And they handpicked him for this too, by the way.
Yes.
Al Gore, right?
Absolutely.
He is the face of it. He's not the father of it, but he's the face of it, right? This has been the end game. We are going to use global warming as a weapon against the people when that day of evil comes. You heard what the brother said. Hey, in order for you to withstand during that time, you better clothe yourself with righteousness, because we are not wrestling against flesh and blood. That is something that is so important too. It's not biting that's our enemy. It's the ruach that is in bite.
Come on, man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. This
not Putin that's our enemy. It's the ruach that he is following.
Come on, man.
The United Nations is not our enemy. It's the people that's sitting in there that is being led by evil ruach. We're not wrestling against flesh and blood.
Right.
Flesh and blood is easy to fight, man.
Right. It could be eradicated. It's easy to do away with. And that's what they want you to think, that it is against flesh and blood, because then you will fight each other. Because of our Trump supporters, Biden supporters. Folks that mad because the queen is passed, and then folks that are happy. Like they want that flesh and blood to fight against.
That's
because then, like you just said, now if you're not clothed with righteousness, you're not paying attention to the ruach.
You're not.
Come on,
you can't see it.
Come on.
You would not be able to see it, man. Look, I was looking for a scripture last week.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the show was over, I found it. I'm going to bring it out because it deals with what we're talking about.
What you got?
There's no way that we're going to be able to destroy this earth no matter what they say. Listen to what the words say. This is 2 Esdras chapter 6 right here. 2 Esdras chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, and he said unto me, in the beginning when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or even the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of paradise was laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable parts were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels was gathered together, or over the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament was named, or ever the chimneys of Zion was hot, or ere the present years was sought out, or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed, that have gathered fate for a treasure, then did I consider these things, and they were made through me alone, and through no other. By me also shall be ended, and by no other.
Come on, man.
We can't destroy what we ain't made.
Boy, the Most High could. Whew, all that he just said, he like, listen, this thing ain't gonna wrap up until I wrap it up, and it's gonna wrap up the way, man.
And he done told us how it's gonna wrap up. It ain't gonna wrap up no differently than what he done told us it's gonna wrap up. I tell people all the time, do I watch CNN? Yes. Do I watch Fox? Yes. Do I watch local news? Yes. But I tell you what, they ain't got nothing on this.
Nothing. This right here, this give you all the news you need.
They ain't got nothing on this, brother. How can this be news? News mean new, right? Just had a new cup of coffee, right? New cup of tea. How can this be news and it was written over 2,000 years ago? It's relevant today, brother.
Because he does it from the end, from the beginning. So he already knows the expected end. Come on, and he said before the foundations, before I gathered the Malachim, before all of this was even spoken.
Before all of this was even spoken.
Was already done.
That's right.
And it's the flesh and blood and the Ruachs that think they got a way out. They think they got a way out. They think they figured a loophole. You know, they always love to talk about loopholes. They love that.
There is no loopholes, man. And the thing is that what these people are doing, man, it is sure evil and wickedness. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're doing this for several reasons, but two of the main reasons is control, and also to overturn the current regime that we have in place.
Right.
And you can see how these countries and these nations are working together to do it.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by the bickering that they're showing you on the news. Putin and Biden is working together, man.
Working together. Don't be deceived.
Along with that crying leader that's over there in Ukraine. Every time he on TV, he crying. They might as well put a diaper on that boy.
I'm telling you, pacify, he crying. He either wants some money or some help or another picture. I'll be like, bro, you stay taking pictures. If you was really leading the nation, I'm like, you always smiling, shaking somebody's hand, taking some pictures. Like, what is...
Where are you at? What is you doing? You know, if I was a Ukrainian man, I'd be mad. You know what I'm saying? Somebody put a gun in this man's hand. You know what I'm saying?
For real, because you always either smiling, shaking somebody's hand, taking pictures, or asking for some money. Yeah, they are in a league of their own when it comes to these policy makers, man.
They are.
Whether it's NATO, the UN, they can put a front up like it's some big fight against each other, but they are all working hand in hand.
They all working together for the final cause, man.
The end game, like you said.
Cause. Exactly. You got to see the end game. And right now, at this particular time, too, I think it's very important for the people to understand, because this here is working with, you know, what's going on over here. How can we say Babylon is falling when we don't know what's causing it to fall?
Right. Absolutely.
All of these things that we talking about is what's causing Babylon to fall, and it's falling from the inside out. They are destroying this thing from the inside out. And remember what I said last week or a couple of weeks ago. The only way to destroy this country is by sabotage.
That's it.
And that's exactly what they're doing. They're sabotaging it. They're sabotaging it intentionally. Think about the student loan forgiveness. People be like, oh, that's a great thing. No, it's not a great thing, because
somebody got to pay for it.
Somebody got to pay for it.
And I seen today, and we could, of course, bring this up in a later show, that there are different states. I think the first two are Arizona and Indiana, saying they're going to tax the citizens because I guess the states are on the hook to pay that. So they're saying, well, if we got paying for each student in the state, then we're going to tax y'all.
There you go. You
And
see what I'm
Arizona
saying?
and Indiana are already saying we passing the law
There
to
you
say
go.
we can tax you for it.
There you go. And so if they start taxing the citizen and we're already in what is called a recession, which we are in a recession, what do you think that you see what I'm saying? They are destroying this thing from the inside out. And at the same time, China and Russia has come together and say, hey, we ain't buying no more oil. We not selling no more oil with the American dollar.
Boy, that is.
We're not even using the American dollar no more.
Right. And its reports are coming out to land back off what you're saying. The sanctions that they imposed on Russia, like, we thriving.
We thriving.
Them sanctions
they not doing nothing. And the man told America, keep putting these sanctions on me if you want to, even though they not hurt me. Keep putting these sanctions on me if you want to. It's gonna be a long, dark, cold winter.
Come on, bro. Come on, man. And
he said it may not be one, but several of them.
Several. It may not be one, but several. And
which brings us to our next story.
Whoo, man, this is heavy right here, boy.
Which brings us to our next. How many people know about the energy crisis in Europe? I am curious to know. One, if you've heard about it. Two, if you haven't, if I'm not asking too much. And the reason why I'm curious to know is because I haven't heard a whole lot about it on the news myself.
Haven't heard. Mainstream media is not talking about it.
I haven't heard a whole lot about it. How can you not talk about the energy crisis that's over in Europe is beyond me, right?
Right.
I made a comment about not only do the American people want Trump out of the office, but the other nations do too, right? Show a video clip as to why these other nations want Trump out of the office.
Come on.
Check this out. 1 minute and 13 seconds. Here we go.
I have to say, I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got in. It should have never been allowed to have happened. But Germany is totally controlled by Russia because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And you tell me if that's appropriate, because I think it's not. And I think it's a...
What you think about that, Ayo?
Man, my first takeaway was the people sitting across from him, how they were looking at him when he was saying all of that. They was looking at him like, how you know that?
Right.
So what my thing is that video that was 2016 or 2017, right? 2018. So here it is 4 years later, and the very thing he was warning them about is happening.
Came to fruition.
Sure. So once again, what did we say last week? All this classified documents that they're talking about. What do you think those documents are?
Right.
When you hear that video, and then you say, okay, now all of a sudden in the news, Russia is closing the pipeline to Germany and the Ukraine and all of Europe, that they were using this oil to produce energy and heat.
Right.
So it's like, when I seen that, I'm like, okay, wow, this is truly the end game. For real.
Yeah, right.
Like for real. And he was warning, and once again, we ain't like, we don't, like, once again, the disclaimer you give, bro, we ain't, Everybody thinks
right. Exactly.
The truth is the truth.
Right.
And if you don't see how they are trying to frame this guy right now with all that Mar-a-Lago classified documents, this is what he took. He's like, look, I gotta be able to tell American people like this is coming. And they had him on video a couple years back when they was taking the picture. It was like, yo, this is the calm before the storm. What do you mean? You'll see.
You'll see. That's
he was
exactly
one of
what he said. He said, you'll see.
Yeah, so my takeaway is why, with rising energy costs, most definitely in Europe, that the mainstream media is not talking about. You got rising energy costs. We just talked last week, California, they passed the sweeping bill, $54 billion for all this climate change stuff. And we broke down about how the nuclear reactors at the dams give the power grids the energy to cool and heat homes and hospitals and all libraries and churches and all this stuff across America.
Right.
Now you got America talking about the energy crisis, and it's really going down in Europe.
Right.
And Russia, Putin is like, I told y'all. I told you.
Right.
I'm gonna choke the gas.
Right.
That's gonna let y'all heat y'all houses in the winter. You ain't gonna have no more gas.
Right.
So y'all gonna have to figure it out. So when I seen that video, I was like, wow, it brings everything to the forefront, man.
How soon do we forget over here in America? One of the biggest problems that we have in America is that we got it too good. And we don't know what suffering really is. Other nations, man, they hear gunfire on a daily. They hear missiles on a daily. You got places that live like that, Over here, we got Paris Hiltons and Nicki Minaj's and
Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashians, and we got TikTok phenomenons that's 16, 17, 18 years old that's making millions of dollars. That's still in high school because they got 3.5 million followers. Right? How soon do we forget that just last winter, here in Texas, they cut our heat off.
Man.
But when it was over with, as Americans do,
go right back to football, basketball, WNBA, hockey, restaurants reopening, and
how soon do we forget? Yeah. You know what this is? This is the sign of an abusive relationship. Baby, I'd never hit you again.
Come on, man.
And you got a tennis bracelet, We need to knock you out 2 or 3 times, right?
Right.
If your girlfriend's telling you, man, you need to leave this dude. Nah, he gonna change.
Right.
Look at what he bought me.
Look at what he bought me.
Look at, right? This is what's happening, man.
Yep.
What happened in Texas was not just secluded in Texas. This is happening everywhere. This is how these people are working together. You think I'm crazy? These people are working together.
Right. That's it.
Look at the title of the article.
Look at the title, y'all.
Russia chokes Europe's gas. France into era of energy sobriety. Trump told him that, hey, Russia, he said ultimately Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia.
Man, 70%?
So, I got this saying that when you do something real, real stupid, whatever you get, that's what you deserve.
Stupid games, stupid prizes.
How are you going to pay? How are you going to ask NATO? And I'm going to tell you something about this here too. I sent you the text on this when I was studying for this, and all praise to the Most High for bringing this back to my mind. How can you expect NATO to protect you from the bully that you pay?
Right.
You became a part of NATO, Germany, to be protected from Russia, but yet you paying Russia billions of dollars for fuel. I don't know if you caught it or not, but he said the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas.
That's supplying the gas. Like how? Like what is? Once again, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So, and Trump was saying then, if we continue to, he was like, what did he say? It's inappropriate.
It's inappropriate.
You can't. That's like you said. That's like the girl going to the girlfriends and complaining about the boyfriend beating on her, and they tell her leave, but then every time she come back, he done gave you another bracelet apologizing. Yeah. You got about 4 bracelets, 3 necklaces, 4 pair of earrings.
Right.
When are you going to get it?
When are you going to get it? Because every time he give you a gift, it's because of a blow he done gave you upside your head.
Right. That's it.
So if you want to know how many times he done hit you, just go to your jewelry box.
Right. That's it. And when they whoever made the phone call from the top to say, look, we got to cut the energy in Texas. Well, people are going to freeze. I don't care what you do. If you don't do it, the government of Texas is going to have to spend another $13 million to do. How long do you want us to cut the power? Just 3 days. See, to them, it's just 3 days.
Just 3 days.
And
all of this is population control too. Now, this is the second thing though, because people died doing that. People died doing that freeze, man, and we would never know them. Just like that beyond critical race theory that you just gave, where they said 50, but you never know. We would never know the number of people that died during that ice storm here in Texas. I went through it. Me and my family sat in this very house and we were cold, too cold to move, man, because we did not have heat in this house for 3 days.
Man,
3.
That's
Pipes was frozen. You understand? My next door neighbor entire kitchen got ruined because the pipes burst in his house.
Pipes burst.
For months, we seen people throwing everything in their house outside in the yard because the entire house got flooded because the pipes burst. Right? I'm telling you what I seen with my eyes, not what I heard.
Right. Exactly. You seen it. You lived. I lived through it.
And we cannot think that these things cannot repeat themselves. We cannot get comfortable. This word that I have problems saying, I'm trying to say it right now, lackadaisical.
And that's what's happened. A lot of us, we get rocked back to sleep. Once again, you hate to sound like a repeater, but NFL, NBA, what Cardi B doing, what Beyonce doing, all of this stuff in the news, and you gravitate towards entertainment. And all they doing is rocking you back to sleep. What
That's all they
doing? What this? And when you should be paying attention to this, like, wait a minute, how am I reading this headline on this podcast? But MSNBC, CNN, they're not talking about this.
They're not talking about this.
They're not talking. Nobody's
talking about this.
Talking about rolling.
They're not mentioning this. I mean, don't you think that it'd be important for us to know that? And you got so many people say, "Oh, that's happening over in Europe." That's a mirror image. America belongs to Europe.
It's the little sister. 1776, who did America so-called win its independence from? Come on, man.
Your tax money, a lot of your tax money
goes to not the queen no more, the king, I guess.
Right.
They got so much land over here, is crazy.
She got her own room in the White House.
Listen, they say I'll bring it up in another show, but supposedly the queen was making $600 million every 24 hours off of land and stuff over here. So y'all don't think that the whole power grid and all these dams and nuclear Hoover Dam and all these nuclear reactors and all of this stuff. Y'all remember Fukushima back in 2011? Remember that? So if they saying to power, you think about, say, 1 million houses in Texas. Divide that by, times that by 50 states, times that by Houston and Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, Tampa, Florida, Miami, all of the cities, all this power, hospitals, lights, water, all the oil and gas that is generated to produce that worldwide. What they're saying is the water in these dams are getting low, guys.
That's right.
It cannot cool the reactors. They need more, like we said the other day when we was talking, the old locomotives. The more coal that they put in the engine, the faster it went. So now they have to pay more money. Government invests money along with the taxpayers. They say, okay, if say a big company, Comcast to power the grid, say it's $13 billion annually. Well, if that cost go from 13 to 20 billion, because you got to pay another 4 billion to pay people to produce more oil, for Jerry Jones' company to produce more oil. Come on, man. And they can't produce it fast enough. Then they say, okay, well, for 3 days, let's just cut the lights. Or like in Europe in that article, they asking companies, y'all, listen, they're asking factories, a glass making factory, you got to cut power for 10 days.
Got to cut it. Yeah.
They furlough. We got to lay off employees for 2 weeks because we don't have enough power to run the lights, run the waters. Every time somebody turn on the water faucet, every time somebody flush the toilet, every time somebody turn on the lights, you got to put all that perspective, and that's what's going on.
Right. You are exactly right, man. And this stuff is not far from here. The lockdowns are coming. The rolling blackouts, as they call them, they're coming. Because not only did Putin say that it's going to be a long, dark winter, your president said it when he first got in office. When
he first got in office, he said it.
It's going to be a dark winter. It's going to be a dark one. These people cannot just be talking like this. We got to hear this stuff and recognize what they mean when they say it. They are not playing no games, man.
Right. President Emmanuel Macron from France, he said we're at a tipping point. He said President Emmanuel Macron's government is calling on the French to prepare for a new era of energy sobriety.
Come on now.
To face down the threat of a hard winter while reassuring households and businesses about the government's ability to protect them.
That's right.
He said, we have been confronted with a series of crises, one more grave than the other, Mr. Macron said in a televised speech to the nation late last month. The picture that I'm painting is one of the end of abundance.
Abundance.
We have reached a tipping point. So he's saying we've been just microwaves and I always wonder, I say, man, how would we get back to the 15th century?
Man, ask Germany. Ask Germany right now.
How would we get back that? Because that's why what did we talk about last week? California said by 2030, we want to have energy cars. Well, why would that make sense if you're trying to cut the energy grid?
Make it make sense. That's why I don't believe none of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They say that the water levels are low. They say that all of these things are low. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I don't, but how is it that you saying that? Because remember, even in the height of the COVID, right? I forgot what the reason was. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out. But they said turn off in the summertime, they was telling people to turn their AC off.
Turn the AC off.
Wear a mask in the house and turn the AC off. Make this make sense to me, right? So now you telling me that we having an energy problem. Our grids cannot support the demand. That's what they say. But we gonna roll out all brand new energy powered cars, battery operated cars.
$54 billion bill passed. 3 o'clock in the morning, midnight California time, 3 o'clock in the morning, Eastern and Central. When everybody was asleep, they passed
everybody sleep.
$54 billion.
Don't make no sense, man. How you gonna do that, man? How you gonna do that? That's like me saying that, hey, I ain't got no money. I'm broke. I'm telling my landlord I'm broke. I can't pay the rent. Right. Yeah, I leave. When I come back, landlord standing outside smoking a cigarette and see me getting out the truck with a brand new 72-inch TV.
Right. You be like, bro, how you doing? It's crazy.
When I am broke, I just had enough money for the TV. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have enough money to get the TV and pay your rent. See? Man, these people playing games, man.
Playing games, man.
This is the other point that I've been trying to make. That is so very important. The Valley of Jehoshaphat, the Most High say He gonna bring all the nations together.
All the nations.
That's World War III, folks.
Yes, sir.
You want to see what World War III gonna look like? Go read 2 Ezra chapter 15 and 16 as well.
Yes, yep.
He said He's gonna bring all nations together. What better way to get America involved in this war? than Russia messing with Germany. America has to protect Germany and France because they are part of NATO.
Yep.
So what is Russia doing? Russia is dragging America right on into this thing.
To this war.
War has nothing to do with liberty. War has nothing to do with patriotism. War has nothing to do with us being on the right side. We the good guys and they the bad side. War has everything to do with money.
Money, money, money.
War generates money.
Yeah, man.
And if you don't think that America want war, you out your mind.
Right.
So what is Russia doing? Tell you how they work together. Hey, well, we know that you're not going to get in this war because we mess with Ukraine. But Russia, I'm going to pull that article title up one more again so you can see it for yourself.
Let it sink in.
One more again so you can see it for yourself. Russia chokes Europe gas. France, which is a part of NATO, enters an era of energy sobriety. Right now, you know what the people of Germany is doing? They cut down wood while it's warm because they know come winter, they not going to have no heat.
Come on, bro.
Because they allow they allow Russia to control 70% of their fuel.
Come on, man. This thing about to be, it's really, like, I know, I tell my family all the time, we done cliched sayings for so many years that now in this hour that it's about to get real. And that cliche we've said for years, but it's really, like I just said, I've always wondered, like, how will we get back to the 1800s? Right. No internet, no TV, no, like we were burning oil lamps and wood stoves. Well, here you go. If America or the world has no power, then guess what? You're going to have to keep warm.
Right.
You're going to have to cook food.
Right. That's right.
And like you just said, Germany right now is chopping down wood because they know.
They're chopping down wood. Man, brother, you know what we ate when they turned the power off, man? All praises to the Most High, brother. We had a grill that we were able to cook beans on. Man, like it was the 1800s. Like what you talking about? We put that coal on that grill. Why was my wife right here with me, man, so she can help me tell y'all how this thing was, man. We couldn't put on enough clothes. I don't like the cold either. I'm a summer. Give me 100 degrees any day of the year. That's me.
You'll take it over cold any day, right?
What? Any day. Any day. Man, I'm up in this joker suffering, man. Just cold. Just cold.
And just think of the many people that's not. Now, I know our listeners and us on this show, we are equipped. We have the Most High, and sometimes your flesh will get in the way. Can I make it? Can I endure this? So just think of the people that don't have the Most High.
Come on now.
Just think of the people that don't study this word and don't have the word in him.
Come on
in
now.
them. They don't have a relationship with the Most High.
Come on now.
Come
on now.
They about to
you talking great segue talk, Ayo.
Come on.
You talking great segue talk, bro. Let's go on and start wrapping this up. All praise to the Most High, man. Look.
Man.
So we know we facing an economic crisis, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, gas might be going down, but food's still going up. Don't let that deceive you. Look at your tickets and compare your tickets before all of this stuff started happening, man. Food is still going up. Electric bills still going up. All of the stuff that you need, all of this stuff is still going up. Everything is still going up. So on top of that, they dealing with these rolling blackouts that they call them, right?
Right.
I didn't get the video clip. I decided not to show the video, but I did print out the transcript, right, of Biden.
Sleepy Joe,
his speech that he had on the 1st. This was probably one of the most craziest speeches I've ever heard, brother. This was equivalent to, like I was telling you, this was equivalent. Say you got 4 kids and they all yours. This speech was equivalent to you taking 2 of your kids and you pulling them off and talking bad about your other 2 and causing them to dislike, hate, or want to fight the other 2 kids. That's what this speech was.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, man. Sedition.
That's the word, sedition. We had that vocabulary word not long ago.
Yep.
So here it comes right back again.
Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch.
That's exactly what Sleepy Joe did in that speech. I don't know how many people heard that speech, but that speech was crazy.
Boy, September 1st.
Regardless of how you feel about Trump,
right,
he was still the president of this country.
Right.
Regardless of how you feel about the people that follow him, they're still so-called Americans, right?
Right.
Still so-called Americans. So this dude gets in front of national TV, and the backdrop was black and red too. It looked real eerie, man. And if you know anything about the elites, you know that the things that they do with signs. They talk to each other with colors and hand movements, and even when how they fix their tie, they do this. Red means death, people. That's what red and black means. It means death. I've never seen a president get up and have a backdrop that was this bloody before in my life, man.
Normally it's blue.
Right.
Blue and
right.
white.
I mean, they cut the lights down and it was red and black. Something is about to happen.
Yeah,
so,
man.
What did he say? These are the things that he said. He said that I come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation about the threats we face. Threats. Remember that. Threats that we face. He's talking to Americans about Americans. Understand? Remember the FBI came up with the term black extremists?
BIE. Right.
Right?
Right.
That's when they made us the enemy of people. And they still trying to do that, right?
Right.
Listen to this, man, with the threats about the power we have in our own hands to meet, right? He goes on about 3 minutes in. He say, we must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. He called him by name. He said, Donald Trump and the migrant and the mega Republicans represented extreme that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Now, I want to be clear, very clear up front. Not every Republican, he says, not even the majority of Republicans are mega Republicans, right? He says not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans, but there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the mega Republicans and the threat to this country. Man, one more thing he says, I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful, and here is my view, is what is true. Mega Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now as I speak in state after state to give power to decide elections in America. Partisans and cronies empowering elections deny us to undermine democracy itself. This was war talk, man.
Yeah.
All you have to do is substitute Donald Trump, mega Republicans with another country. And you are rallying up your country to let's go to war with these people.
Yeah. Just think if he could have had that same speech against China or Japan, and people would have been in their houses watching it, getting pumped up. Like,
pumped up.
We got to stop it. So could you imagine after that speech, the workplaces, people that eat together, that done kind of let aside the differences. Now they hear that speech, the people that don't like him and Democrats, and vice versa, the people that don't like Trump supporters and Republicans or MAGA Republicans. Could you imagine that tension?
You see?
They be ready to do something. Ready to see. Sedition. Putting something in your mind to make you think somebody else is the enemy. The person that worked beside me is the enemy. It's crazy.
I believe it's Matthew 24 where it said the love of many shall wax cold.
Wax cold, man.
We are seeing how these things are happening.
We're here, man. We are here.
We're seeing how these things, when your leader gets up and start talking. Look, man, I used to have this rule way before I got married, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody knew me knew I loved the ladies, bro. Mm-hmm. There was something that I didn't do, brother. Mm-hmm. There was a young lady that I was interested in, and I knew she had a boyfriend, and it happened to be a boyfriend that I knew, right? I knew things about this cat. I never would say ill will things about this dude to win her affection.
Right. Come on, man.
Great. You see what I'm saying? Yes. I'm not this. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Right. If I seen this dude doing something he wasn't, I would. You know what I'm saying? I want you to. You know what I'm saying? I want you to recognize my little game that I got. Right. You dig what I'm saying?
Exactly. Not necessarily.
And this is what this dude is doing, though, right? Instead of you telling us what you can do to improve this place, you, on the other hand, is telling us all the things that the regime before you wasn't doing and is doing, and you inciting riots with it. All of the people that look at him as the leader, look, people that follow people have the same ruach that they leader have.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
So if your leader is telling you how you think football games are won and lost, man, you ought to be in them locker rooms.
Trust me, you ought to be. Yes.
How do you think these things are won and lost, man?
Yep. Huh? Look, we would be down at halftime, or vice versa. My coach Harden, he come in there and do a speech, bruh. Come on, man. We go out there and smash. So it's the same. It's the same thing. And look, this is what I noticed in that speech. Not one time they plugged him up the night before he was charged.
Right.
He didn't falter. He read every word, word for word. He ain't get
maybe he was a Bluetooth speaker.
I'm telling you, he was he be smiling. He didn't do nothing.
Not one time. That brother hit every word, every syllable, everything. He didn't stutter or nothing, man.
I was like, wow.
Look. What's the purpose of bringing this up? The purpose of bringing this up is to tell you, man, that the dark winter that a lot of these leaders are telling you that's coming, not necessarily just talking about cold weather. It's talking about ugly times. Talking about ugly times. All right, can you do me a favor? Could you read Zephaniah 2, 1 through 3 right now? Check out what the Most High said right here. Check this out. It's going to be some ugly times coming. People are beginning to lose their mind. They are doing things that's causing people. They got certain sound waves and frequencies in certain neighborhoods that causes people to act differently than what they normally would act.
Yeah. You say Zephaniah 1?
Zephaniah chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
Verses 1 through 3. Yeah.
Got my C from over here turning page. You know, it's turning you hear the page turning. Make it sound smart. Make it sound smart.
Right.
All right, say it again, Zephaniah 2 and
1 through 3.
All right, let's go. Zephaniah 2 verses 1 through 3. Gather yourselves together.
Right. That's right, yeah.
Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you, before the day of the Most High's anger come upon you. Seek the Most High, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Most High's anger.
And don't get no clearer than that. Look,
that word.
He started off letting you know who he is talking to. Duryat Ayo. Okay, this letter is to you. He says, gather yourself together, O nation, not desired. He's talking to us. Then he give us the warning why we need to gather ourselves together. Right. I'm going to be honest. I don't want nobody watching Truth Be Told Flex podcast just because they think it's a good show. Come here to watch because you want to be able to put yourself and your family in a better position about the things that is happening in this world.
Right. So when you see it happening, you ain't shook. It's like, man,
you understand what I'm saying?
I knew this was. I knew it was coming. Let's
he is talking to a particular people, a nation that is not desired. He said, "Gather yourself together before what?
Before the decree bring forth."
Before the decree bring forth.
Before the day pass at the chaff.
See, it's coming.
He said, right.
It's coming.
Said, be prepared before it. Don't wait.
Before it comes.
Like, oh, what? Because look, right. all the apocalyptic movies, Greenland, Armageddon, them people were shocked.
That's
they come
right.
on TV and say, we got 2 hours before the meteor hit.
That's right.
People were shocked, scrambling. We going to be like, you know what? We prepared. We ready. Let's go.
And the thing with it in that Zephaniah, if you look at it, we know that he's talking to the nation that's not desired. Who did he say that day of trouble is going to come upon?
For Gaza shall be forsaken.
No, go up a little bit. Start at verse 2. What did he say? Start at verse 2.
Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a child, before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you.
But come upon who?
You.
Come upon you, the children of Israel, us. He is warning his kids that these things are going to happen.
He telling you right now.
Before the anger of the Most High comes upon you. He's not talking to Japheth. Nope. He's not talking to Edom. He's not talking to Ham. He's talking to the nation that is not desired, which is us. All right?
Come on, man. We just learned about Okoye.
Come on now.
They don't want to hear your voice.
Come on now.
Like you said earlier, that's a nation not desired.
So a nation that is not desired.
Right. That's who he's talking to.
That's right.
Who he's talking to. Every other nation, they talk about reparations. Japan, China, everywhere something done happened, they done got money, they done got land, they got businesses.
There is somebody in this earth that represents every nation except for us. Ain't nobody stood up for us. Ain't nobody gonna stand up for us. And that's what Deuteronomy 28 said, that you will be sold for bondmen and bondwomen, and nobody will buy you. The only person that desire us is the Most High. And that's why he left us this book to give us a warning with what's going to happen.
You better preach. Bring that word out.
Don't nobody care about us, man.
Nope. They don't.
Don't nobody care about us, brother. So why is it that we be like, man, if I don't think about it, then it's going to be all right. You know what Peter called them kind of thinking people? He called them scoffers.
Come on, man.
He called them scoffers.
Come on, man. Man, that's heavy stuff, man.
They going to lock us down again. I believe that.
It's coming, man. It's the only way that they could go. Fear is a business. Fear is a business.
Fear is a business,
fear
man.
Is a business, man. And that's
fear is
why
a business.
We have to bring out this word and not just warn our people, but let the people know that the Most High said this is His word. This is
His word. Exactly.
Nation not desired. I'm gonna warn you. So
That's
you
right.
be ready, because everything else,
That's right. And this is the key to this too, man. Whether the Hebrews believe me or not, and I stand in a room with Hebrews and say it because I believe. Our obedience to this word will also be a result of some of the other nations.
Come on, man. Come on.
Because Zechariah told us when that day comes, they're going to take hold to the skirt of a Hebrew and say, hey, I'm going to roll with you because the Most High is with you.
They're going to cleave. That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, man, look here.
Woo.
This been good, man.
Yeah, man.
These people are confederate together against us. I want to thank everybody that stuck with us, everybody that is sticking in there with us.
Yeah, man.
We're going to continue to dig through this stuff and try to find what is needed for us, man. And we bring this stuff in. If anybody got any suggestions as well, the email is Truth Be Told Flex Podcast. Ayo being Yehu, I'll be on that email board of mine. So, but it will be seen. Right? Yeah. Anybody got any ideas? The email is here. I'm going to put it up. The email is Truth Be Told Flex Podcast. Hit us up in the email. You got any news? Like, I'm serious about this. And we thank you guys for chatting with us in the chat box. And Ayob, I appreciate you. Sister Delta, I appreciate you if you're still with us as well. So yeah, man, let's get it and let's keep ourselves prepared, man. You know, as for me and my house, we gonna worship the Most High. That's the only route that we can go.
That's it.
That is the only route that we can go, man. You got any closing remarks, brother?
No, man. Just stay girded up, and go. Just keep the information. Stay in your book, and just continue to look up as your redemption draweth nigh. Gotta stay on this stuff. The stuff mainstream media is not talking about lockdowns and rolling blackouts. Just be prepared for when that time hits. When all of these things hit in that hour, just be prepared. So. Yes,
because it is going to hit, and I believe with all my heart in the show that's coming up real soon, probably next week. One of the plans that they have is to get all of us sick. Yeah, and they have a major plan in doing this. You got to understand that only they living in a system, and the way that they look at it, only the strong is going to survive. Yep. They don't know who our Father is, right?
They just don't know.
They don't know who our Father is. So with that being said, we're going to get up out of here. And to everybody that stuck with us, we do want to say thank you and come back and join us next week. Ayob, I appreciate you, brother. And by the grace of the Most High, we hope that our brother Safar Yeshel will be back with us. With that being said, here we go.
Listen, man, in case you didn't know, it's almost getting close. In case you didn't know.
This has been real. We would like to thank you, and we will see you at this same time next week.
Only the ones with no faith that take the vaccines. Step to me with it, I'ma make your back lean. We at the end, new Sodom and Gomorrah. Christ about to come and mop the floor up. Walking up in Louis V with your mask on. Check the me's, man, they about to get their blast on. Prophecy, interpretation, Isaiah 55:11, so it ain't no faking. Crack your dough, it's getting close. I'm here to tell you, just in case you didn't know. Listen, man, in case you didn't know, it's almost getting close. In case you didn't know, it's all unraveling. Babylon got pregnant with a daughter. She introduced a new
world. Bro, you was preaching that.